When I first saw this video, I, as an Eastern European, had opinions. You see, for those of you that missed it, was a young journalist by the name of Nick Shirley that went to a place called the Quality Learning Center, which allegedly was a kindergarten funded by taxpayer money. And his whole point was that there are no children here. And you could see every single person on camera was very sketchy. He wasn't allowed in. They were acting exactly the way you would expect people would act if they are committing a fraud, right? In other words, get the camera out of here. They started becoming aggressive. They didn't cooperate with these questions at all. Now, I, as an Eastern European, have this thing called critical thinking, right? And so I'm wondering what would happen if I went to a camera in front of an actual kindergarten. Well, they would assume that I'm probably a parent that wants to put my kids there, right? And so most kindergartens would actually have no problem with filming, depending on what you're filming, right? But if they would see me with a camera, they would go like, oh, so are you a YouTuber or something, right? Like, why are you filming this? And I would be like, yeah, I'm filming this for my YouTube channel. At which point, they would probably be ecstatic, because that's like free advertisement, right? And so they would allow me to film the hallway. They would probably allow me to film where the teachers are. They would allow me to film asking them questions. It's like, okay, so how much does it cost? What is the program that you have with the kids, right? Most likely they wouldn't allow me to film the actual children, you know, like specifically, but like simply being on the hallway and you know, hearing the children screaming from the classrooms, like that would be allowed. But they would definitely, under no circumstance, behave the way that these individuals behaved. And more importantly, like this was very telling, the Quality Learning Center. Like, this just doesn't exist on any type of kindergarten or school anywhere. And I'll tell you why it doesn't exist. Because parents would complain, right? Like the first parent coming there would basically say, hey, like you misspelled that. And so like, eventually they would take it down and replace it, right? Like, isn't that normal? That's that like what parents do? And if they don't, like what type of parent would actually send their kid to get an education from a place that is like the learning center? I mean, come on. But my God, what happened on the internet? Like, holy shit. I remember my best friend, Short Fat Otaku, my esteemed colleague. But my God, what happened on the internet was like completely unhinged. Immediately they called this guy a pedophile, right? Like, this is now the standard go-to internet communication. We don't have racists and Nazis anymore. We have pedophiles everywhere. And apparently this guy was it. Why? Because he filmed next to a kindergarten. Aha! That's what pedophiles do, right? Like internet mentality, top IQ. What can I say? Why would he film next to a kindergarten, right? Like what type of man, what type of individual? Why would you film around children? And it's like, well, hold on a little bit. Yeah, like a person that tries to expose the government fraud that involves kindergartens, yeah, you would probably film around there. Like how else would you expose? What would you have done, right? But no, like that was the idea. He's a creep. Short Fat Otaku, he watched the video. Oh, my favorite guy, you know, my esteemed colleague. He watched the video and he's like, eventually I think he changed his stance, right? Like he backpedaled and he changed his opinion. It was, yeah, okay, maybe the kindergarten is corrupt, but the way he investigated is wrong. Why don't you go and investigate them better, Dev? You know, like if you think that what this guy did, it was wrong. Like it wasn't sufficient evidence. There wasn't sufficient evidence to convince Dev. I mean, well, if there isn't sufficient evidence, you know, like, obviously, like what Nick Shirley did was gathering evidence for a court case, right? What Nick Shirley did was to open the conversation, to actually get the authorities to look into it. That's what he did. Because, you know, he doesn't have the power of the court to have the process of discovery, to issue subpoenas and shit. But again, like, people that are leftists, like, they do not have the mental capacity to understand how actual investigations work. Like, for them, suspicion means that unless all the evidence is there, then you just walk away and you don't talk about it. But people looked into it, right? Like, people that noticed something is fishy going on, they looked into it, and someone found that there's, like, 50 kindergartens in a 10-kilometer radius. And again, my esteemed colleague, Dev, at the time, it's like, you don't understand, V. You know, they don't understand, like, people running daycares from their houses, like, happens all the time. They happen all the time, V. And it's like, yeah, okay, but, like, should the government fund 50 kindergartens where they can find just one per a 10-kilometer radius? Like, if that was genuinely the case, if it happens all the time, right? Don't you think, like, a little bit of mismanagement of funds should be addressed? Like, why fund, like, 50 different kindergartens, right, when you can only fund one, and the people that want to have it in their apartment can do it without government backing? All the time. But anyway, right, turns out that the person in charge of the leading center actually got arrested, right? Minneapolis daycare owner, featured in Nick Shirley's videos, charged with wire fraud and conspiracy for allegedly stealing $4.6 million. False claims of federal state programs. Oh, you know, I wonder if Dev also thinks that this happens all the time. It happens all the time, Dev. But his take is that it happens all the time in Russia and Eastern Europe, right? Like, Americans are above the corruption. They are like different types of human beings that would never. And if it does happen, this is just the one case, you know? It's not system. No, it's just like one time. That's why the Minneapolis governor resigned. Sorry, not Minneapolis, Minnesota. But, listen, right. Why was it a Muslim immigrant doing it? Because it's very interesting. Like, this is a conversation that actually needs to happen, right? Why is it that it was a minority that did it? Is it that Americans are unaware how to commit fraud? The answer is obviously not. Because in order to commit the fraud, the higher-ups, right, like the governors and the people under them, had to know. They're not imbeciles. Like, they know. But here's the interesting part, right? If you do it with kindergartens, and if you do it with minorities, people shut you the fuck up when you try to investigate. Isn't it interesting how it works, right? Every single moral movement has immoral people using the morality of the umbrella to defend themselves from criticism. And so this is why it's actually happening with immigrants. Isn't that like immigrants are a lot smarter and they figure out how to game the system? It's not like Americans, like they would never game the system because they're honest individuals, right? No, it's simply the fact that the people in power can actually use the protected classes in order to deflect criticism when shit hits the fan, right? So all of a sudden, you're not a journalist that has found a lead and has broken a story. No, you're a pedophile, a creep, a racist, a bigot, someone that's life needs to be ruined. And there were a lot of leftists that still are, like the way they're treating this journalist is astonishing when he seems to be one of the few people that actually did what journalists should do, you know, like expose corruption. And it's also fascinating how leftists that are for big government and they believe that the only way to live fairly is if you tax the rich, they don't seem to be concerned what actually happens with the money when the rich are being taxed. They're not concerned that all of this cash, right, all these millions of dollars that should have gotten to actual children, that should have gotten to actual kindergartens, have been mismanaged and they have gotten to crooks and robbers. They don't have any problem with this, right? Like, They constantly talk about morality and goodness and human basic empathy and all of that. But if it doesn't align with their ideology, they don't care. And their ideology doesn't seem to care either. This is the shocking thing. And what's also interesting is how fast they move on. Not a single person that I've seen from the left that were attacking Mr. Nick is willing to come out and say, you know what, I was wrong. And I tell you what, you can actually do it and they won't get any backlash. They can literally come out and say, yeah, you know, I have seen so many racists in my life that I thought that Mr. Nick is one as well. Turns out that I was wrong and I apologize for it. That's literally all you have to say as a leftist, right? You're not going to get attacked by the left. You're going to actually get a little bit more cred for being honest. None of them want to do it. Not a single one of them wants to do that. It's fascinating. What can I say? Absolutely fascinating, right? And even right-wingers, like they're allowing the left to go away. There should be lists. There should be lists with what people posted when Nick showed this. And then to show the people, it's like, look, you have absolutely no critical thinking. You're a fucking moron. If you see a guy that's trying to break into your car and you go like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, oh shit, sorry man, sorry, I thought it's my car. What a mistake, right? You would believe him, right? But you're literally that dumb. Like you do not have any type of suspicion whatsoever, unless it's Donald Trump doing it. Like, if it's Donald Trump, you know, like, if Donald Trump says good morning, they're already, like, squinting their eyes in suspicion. But, like, what did he mean by that? Is he suffering from Alzheimer? Can't he see it's 11? Like, 11 is not morning. He's getting old. That's how leftists operate. It's fucking insane, you know? The thing is, like, it doesn't make society better, right? Like, what they're trying to do is to discourage other people from investigating. Like, listen, I would understand if you're, like, hooked into the corruption. Right? Like, if you're already getting cash from the government, if you're paid to shill, if you're actually running your own leering center, I get why you would be like that. Like, that makes sense, right? But when you're not involved, when you're actually not profiting, why would you want your taxpayer money to be wasted? Like, maybe someone can explain this to me, because as an Eastern European, I just don't fucking get it. I just don't get it. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, we'll see you in the comment section. Take care.